in the culture that I have been brought up in, often silence is associated with the demureness or being a good woman. So experiences of sexual harassment in public places, or experiences of eve teasing, catcalling, being at the end of um, inappropriate sexual touch in public places, in public vehicles, is something that is I have experienced it growing up, and there have been years when I just kept quiet about it, not even sharing it with friends or my parents or siblings, just by the sheer thing that every woman goes through it. And what to do? I'll have to just, you know, um, get through this, and this feeling of feeling really terrible about what was happening in buses and trains, and uh, not reporting about it ever, just thinking that this too shall pass, and I'll get over it, and keeping silent about it. Also, if at any point I have shared it with a elder person at home, the response being that take care of yourself, don't take that bus, don't take that route, um, stand away from crowds, things like that. And you just give this message to yourself: I'll have to do something different, to not get molested or catcalled or teased, sexually uh, harassed. So it was on me, and I chose to just keep silent for several years, just thinking that I was terrified, basically. I didn't know how to say what was happening when somebody touches you inappropriately. I didn't know what to say. It was shock and disgust and anger. And I think that anger turned into rage, because you keep suppressing, and it just turns into cold rage after a point of time. Um, so yes, there were years of that. And then when you get into a professional field, and you start working, and you start working on human rights, you start working with victims of sexual violence, and you ask them to start speaking up and break the silence, and say that your silence is not going to help anybody, so speak up. I would often sit alone, and think, what would I have told to that 17-year-old Luma, or the 21-year-old Luma today? I would sob and cry, just out of shock. There were times when the crying was out of anger, severe anger, and uh, I was angry, but it was all turned inward. It was all internal, internal things happening. So yes, there was protesting internally happening, but nothing would come out. Nothing would just come out in a, I had hundreds of people around me, and I just couldn't open my mouth and say, excuse me, the 100 people in this bus, this particular person is molesting me. And I don't know how
It's
that would have gone. I mean, I could have had people jumping in to support me or help me. I don't know, because I didn't speak. When you grow up in a culture where power is almost synonymous with abuse, violence, oppression, you keep denying the power you feel within, because you keep telling yourself, I cannot be the person with power, because then I become the abuser, the oppressor, the perpetrator. And your relationship with power is, that's what I think in the last 20 years, what I've really worked on, and what I've chosen to work on and build, is this relationship with power. And that's what is the politics, that's the internal politics, because that shifts. One of the things I constantly now feel is, even when I chose to be silent, even when I didn't do something, when I didn't protest loudly, Julia, you're right, even in that silence, something shifted inside, something changed inside. So a series of such events where you are unable, you cannot choose to challenge, you don't protest, it's not that it goes in vain. It keeps layer after layer after layer. It keeps sitting. It keeps changing you from the inside. And 5 years later, you're not the same person. There's a moment when you tell the ghost that uh, you don't have that kind of control over me anymore. And the silence has now found its voice. And I will brush you off whenever um, I want to speak. So yes, the I have made friends with the power within, and I have actually started speaking to that ghost that would sit and say, "Don't, don't say anything. Just keep quiet. Just be peaceful. Things will, you just go with the flow." That ghost, I think I've been able to silence. I was thinking today of an analogy of in the morning today, that what happens when I choose to challenge, and I just thought of this, that like the butterfly effect, just like the flapping of the butterfly's wings, it causes hurricanes. And I've really come to believe that me choosing to challenge will cause some storms of transformation. There will be small and big revolutions of change, and I will live with that, and I want to live with that, and I'm good to live with that. So through those storms and through those hurricanes, butterflies will keep flapping wings, and women like you and me will keep choosing to challenge.